is up, everybody? Welcome to Tea Time with Liz and Friends. It is Monday night, and we're feeling all right. What's going on, Joe? How are you?
Just like you said, it's Monday night and I'm feeling all right.
Listen. Happy belated Father's Day to all the fathers out there. We want to make sure we shout you
Yes.
all out. Hopefully, y'all had some good weekends, took care of your daddies, your fathers, your spiritual fathers, all the fathers, and
Mm,
treated them well because we are nothing without our fathers as well. So,
that
happy
part,
Father's
that
Day
part.
again to you all. But yeah, it is Monday, y'all. We are back. We are here for part two and some other tea stuff. And I'm excited. So let's get into it. We got our quick tea time announcements, of course. And, I'm so proud of my sister here. She is stepping out on faith. She is doing the thing and following the leading of the Lord. And we all going to support her. Okay. I don't care if you can't come or not. Get you a ticket,
Amen.
sponsor somebody, do something. Okay. And come to this Ascend Summit. All right. It is July 25th and 26th. We see, let me put myself in here. We are going to be there for sure.
We, yes,
We are
we,
going to be there, right?
because you gonna be
Listen, but
there.
ma'am, you
Yes,
have such a high lineup of powerful women of God. Tell the people what we are in tune for.
I'm just in awe how God is putting this thing together. Because He already
Baby.
shown that He is with me on this and that He has my back. He's gonna be in the building too. So as long as God is in the building, I'm gonna be there. I want to be there.
Okay.
Uh,
And will.
this lineup, this line, okay. This lineup is just amazing. Like you said, just awesome women of God. We're powerful and blessed and just anointed by God. And I'm just so excited to
Absolutely.
see how God is going to use them, how God is going to move, period. So yes,
Okay.
get in the room if you that haven't got the
Listen,
tickets yet. Get in the
get
room.
it. Okay. And if you have not seen the quick link to be able to do so, hit us up in the DMs. We'll be glad to give you that. And we'll also put the link in the comments here after this show. So I definitely want to leave with that. Y'all, we about to have a little situation too, okay? Save the dates.
Oh,
Get it together. We about to pop
yes.
out, okay? And with a pop up.
Whoop, whoop.
And it is called Fill Your Cup. Who is filling your cup? All right. It is a tea time party. It starts at 11 until 1:30, and we are excited. This will be going down September 6th. Free food, free parking, free event. It's all free. We come to pour out and hang out. So definitely stay tuned for how to register. Make sure you reserve your spot because there will be reservations being made. Okay, that's the type of tea party we gonna have. All right,
Mm,
so
mm, mm.
definitely do so.
Seats is gonna
Um,
fill up quick for that too.
that's okay. It may be limited, so be careful. All right, be careful. Make sure you get yours. But once again, if you have not
That part.
started following us here
That part.
on social media, make sure you are subscribing to our YouTube channel where you can catch up on all the tea. We've been out here for 5 years, y'all. 5 years, and I give God the glory. I thank
Woo!
you all for your love and support. But let's get this tea time channel up, okay? Let's get some more subscribers. Tell a friend, let them know that this podcast we do lives as well, so you can catch up on
Mm,
all of that.
yes, yes.
Like us, follow us on Instagram, where you can catch up on some of the clips, the tea that you be missing on Mondays. Okay, we've been highlighting some
Mm,
things, so you
mm.
definitely want to make sure you are connected to us here
That's
on
why people
social
out here
media.
thirsty.
Okay, thirsty. Okay, get you a little sample. Get you a little
They
sample
they
so you can come
parched.
back
They
on a
parched.
Monday and be with us, right? That's what's up, Joe. That's what's up. Definitely too, if you have any suggestions for us, any comments, let us know. If you love us, if you have a little something against us, we want to hear it all. And we would love to
That
just hear your
part.
response. Period. Okay, so definitely hit us up. Reach out to us in
That
our social
part.
medias and our DMs, whatever you choose to communicate with us. You can also email us as well. Um, and definitely we will connect back with you. All right. That is all I got. Let's get into this tea. Want to shout out Mr. Exy. He's the one that started us off last week, and our our episode kind of took a twist. um, and we were
It
talking
really did.
right? And so like I was like, okay, well, it was still picking up the pieces. And like I said, we shout him out for just sharing his personal testimony on how God has delivered him, set him free, and put him on a different road. And he literally has been, God has picked up his pieces, okay? And so tonight, though, we're going to get back on this single and divorce bandwagon and picking up the pieces part 2,
Whew.
and I'm excited to
Your
talk about this.
pieces.
And so, if you didn't check out last week's episode or last a couple weeks episode, first month episode, you definitely want to do so. But I'm gonna make a comment, and we're gonna talk about that first, okay? Because I said one of the viewers made a comment asking what is his love language, right? And do the love languages work? Now, I didn't say my piece, Joe, because I said I'm gonna save that for our next episode, okay? And this is that, all right? um, however,
Okay, okay. Say your piece. Say your piece.
I want to get what you feel about the love languages. Do you feel they work? What are your love languages if you want to share? You know, how do you view the love languages?
I honestly feel like it's an interesting little concept. And a lot of people can relate to it. For me, I feel like I personally relate to like all of the categories in, for my love language. And I feel weird saying that because everybody usually can identify with one or the other, or
One,
maybe
yeah.
two or three. But um, yeah, so but I don't follow it. I don't be like, okay, this is their love language. This is my love language, and you got to do this,
Right,
that, and
like
the
you're
other,
not hardcore,
because
yeah.
God has the final say. So
Come on,
yeah, and you can have the same love language, or follow somebody's the love language to a T, and it still not work out.
say it for the
So
people in the back. Say it for the people in the back. And you know what? You bring up something. Um, I mean, you do. You bring up something that is so like profound that you could love somebody a certain way and it still not work out. And so, one day a thought came to me, and I'm going to ask you this next: is what love language does God have? Like there's 5 love
hmm,
languages we have that
hmm,
we subject ourselves to love in, right?
that's a good thought.
But what is God's love language? Like, is he
Mhm.
acts of service? Is he gifts? Is he quality time? Is he
Yep,
affirmation?
yep,
I don't know how we're gonna be physical touch with the Lord, but is he physical
yep,
touch? Like
yep.
how is God all those? Or is he one of those more than the other?
I feel like, well, to kind of go off of the physical touch part,
Mhm.
we are created in his image. So I
Come
feel
on.
like that he taught us how to physically love somebody. We've
Absolutely.
learned how to hug, how to hold hands, how to feel like and rub and um just be there. I mean, even on a tip, that's godly, in marriage.
Mhm.
um that is something that he created for us. Learned that through him.
Absolutely.
That's my thought.
Okay. 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 I feel you. And it is y- y- like you said, he is all those things. And so to subject him to one would be
Mhm.
not right because he isn't just one. He is all and more. And it is
And he
us
put
who love
he put them in a box.
conditionally,
Yes.
right? And this is Bible, you know, your girl always gonna go Bible on this. So loving conditionally is what he came to correct. He says, I come to not to condemn the world, but through me that they may be
Hmm.
saved, right? And that he has an unconditional love for us, that
Mhm.
there's no one thing you can do to please him over the other, you know,
Mhm.
that he accepts all things even when we don't love him the most. He's still loving us, you know, and that ain't what we can say with these love languages.
Yep. Yes.
Right. That is not what we can say with these love languages. So
And you
I
know what? A lot of people
go ahead.
sorry. A lot of people try to focus just on the love language, but it's so much bigger than that. It's so
Yeah,
much bigger than that. And the way that we can find love period is through the love of God. And
absolutely.
that may sound cliche or even biblical, but it's true. I mean, can't nobody
Absolutely.
love you or teach love? The better teacher, best teacher for love is God. God
Absolutely.
so loved the world that he
World.
gave.
Come on.
That's acts of giving, gave his only begotten son. Who's
Come
gonna give
on.
up their child because they love somebody else?
Listen. Listen, well, I mean, I mean, it is him, right? Like he gave himself. He gave himself so that we could live again, that we could be loved again, and
Yes,
even
he gave
unconditionally.
himself.
So, you know, it's so much more than what we subject ourselves to. So that's why I said I got to talk about it in my own way. And this is no judgment. You know, I think it's a good source to remind you how to love and to give love, because love is a service. Like
It
you
was
you
good.
have to continuously be
Yes.
selfless in love, but like you stated, no one else can teach us how to love but God. And if you don't allow God to love you, you can't love other people. So I say that in love to everyone. It's that, you know, we really take the time to really search this
That
love
part.
thing, right? And that, you know, if we are struggling in connecting intimately with other people, um how are we connecting with God intimately, right? And so that's why I say, you know, it's a good
Mhm.
measure, but don't limit yourself to it. Um, and if, I mean, if I'm going to be honest, you know, my top
Yes.
one is quality time, right? But that's also too, I love sitting with the Lord and praying and doing all the things, right? But I don't limit him in that very
That's good. That's
shape
good.
or form, right? So I just had to get that out. You know, I had to throw that one out there. But y'all respond to us. Let us know what you think
That's
in
good.
that aspect, right? Yeah, yeah. And I mean, and you pointed it out, like he's done
Yeah.
all the acts. He's done the affirming. He's done, you know, the giving and all the things that we
Mhm.
have in this five categories, but he's more. He's so much more. So yeah, that I had to get that one out. We had to
He
get
is
that one
he
out.
is so much more, and
Oh, go
that
ahead.
that's good info. That's a good thought process, and that was nobody but God that gave you that thought process because it's like, this is limiting, you know,
Yeah,
limiting me. I am love, and you guys are trying to put a
right.
label on it. You're trying to put a label on it. No, there is no label. I am.
None.
I am
None.
that I am.
Okay.
um,
Come on. Come on, word. Come
so
on.
y- so when we focus so much on just little things, because that's little compared to what God is in love.
Absolutely.
When we focus on little things, and like I said earlier, you know, if that person fails to meet what you call your love language, or the
Mhm.
relationship might not even work, they can feed your love language and it's still not work. They
That
can go out there and you can have your love language can be acts of giving, and they can give you the world, but then they can also be giving somebody else the world right after they leave your house. So,
okay.
and
Oh Lord.
that's when we go into like we go into failed relationships and stuff like that, and it's like what what's the point here? What is the point here?
Right.
So after learning about your relationships and how they failed and what you tried to do and all that kind of stuff, how do you feel when the relationship fails?
Whew, child, listen. It's been different, okay? Let me just say that. It's been different. In my early 20s, late 20s to about early 30s, I had a hard time. I really beat myself up. I started really doing this what they call the stinking thinking, like, oh, I'm ugly, or
Thinking, thinking.
all the things, or I'm not pretty enough. Well, that's the same as I'm ugly, but like, just oh, at the time I didn't have a college
No, it's not.
degree. Well, you know what I'm saying, like, I just didn't have the right body type. I ain't got no
Mhm,
BBL,
mhm.
situation going on over here. And, you just all the things, right? Like, you start kind of classifying yourself into these categories of what you think people are looking for. And sometimes when you feel like when you measure yourself to those things, you start, like I said, you start this stinking thinking. And it really caused me to go into like some depression sometimes in seasons. I remember having to take a break from even dating because I was like, it's doing
Wow.
too much. I can't deal with this. My emotions, my attitude, all the things. Um, but not realizing that the
Yeah.
time when I was divorced, that I never dealt with some of the things that hurt me the most, where my pieces began to be at, right? And so here I am trying to have relationships
Mhm,
with
mhm.
pieces, not being able to give them a whole cup, but I'm giving them a piece of a cup. Like, hey, can you pour a little sprinkle here, a little sprinkle
Mm,
here, and nothing can stick when you're broken.
mm.
So, but how about you? How did
Right,
you feel
right.
with failed relationships? How did you feel?
Um, for some reason, I am able to bounce back really quick.
Come
Um,
on, bounce back.
I don't
Yes.
know if that's a gift or what it is. And maybe it's because I put so much into the relationship that when I'm ready to let go, I have no reserve. I have like, okay, I've done everything I can do. This isn't going to work. I really processed it. Um, Even the fact of what everybody else is going to think, or
Yeah.
what does the word of God says, and what will the future look like? Will I be ready? Should I start dating again? I really processed the whole situation, and
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, I can bounce back pretty quick.
You
And
know,
actually,
I admire people like
I
that.
don't,
Like,
I sometimes I don't like that about myself. That it is what it
why?
is. It is what it
Well,
is.
okay, so I'm gonna ask that. Why? Why don't you like that though?
Uh, because when I'm done, I'm done.
Mm,
And that's not just in a relationship, a romantic relationship, that's in any type of relationship. Like when I'm done, I'm done. And it's like I've tried. I love hard. That's who I am. That is what God has placed in me. Love. I'm a lover. And for that to be betrayed or mishandled or not taken seriously, um, that's a complete cut off for me. Like I gave you almost everything, and you just this, that, or the other, or even it's not even may not even be their fault. It's just really, really processing. Okay, what's the point of this relationship?
Yeah.
What am I getting? What am I gaining from this?
Yeah.
Why am I here? Is it stunting my growth?
Mm.
Are we growing together?
Well,
Um, am I going backwards? It's
yeah.
just a lot of things that I process before I let go. So to say that I feel some type of way about it being a failed relationship, no, because I know that I've really processed and it, thought that it's probably the best thing.
No, no, I mean, like I said, I admire that, but I think you get to a place of knowing who you are and you don't tolerate, right? You don't waste time. You, like you said, you feel like you are not who you
Yeah.
truly, you're not true to yourself, right? And that's why I could say, in my latter years and in
Mhm.
recent, like failed with any type of failed relationship, I'm like you. My bounce back game is I am unfazed, okay? Because listen, I am a child of the king. And
That
whatever
part.
the season was, it
That
was.
part.
And I still love you. That's my thing.
That part.
I got what they call a pastor's heart. I ain't claiming it, but we're gonna talk it. but
Okay,
but I
Pastor
do.
Wiz.
I love people, right? And I don't care if dragged me out,
Mhm.
lied on me, whatever the case may be. I'm still gonna to respect you, right? Not to say I'm just gonna let you walk over me, but I'm gonna show you love. I'm gonna be able to say hi. I'm gonna hug you. I'm gonna do all the things. So I mean, I have no ill feeling. You know what I'm saying? Because I know who I am.
Right.
And some people are still broken. Some people are still trying to figure out who they are. And I can't internalize their
Hmm.
brokenness or their unhealedness, right? And so, that leads me to our next question,
Right.
like what keeps you guarded? After, we've both been divorced and are in this dating scene. So, as you've journeyed from your divorce to now, like has anything kept you guarded?
Well, it really like you said, it really has to do with knowing who you are and knowing um what you want out of life, you know. So, um you know what felt good and what didn't, what felt right and what didn't, how you wanted to be treated and how you did not want to be treated. So, learning that, you only learn that through experience. So really taking what me, this is me, I can only speak for me. What I have learned is like I don't want to repeat the same cycles.
That's good.
So I have to learn what it is that is keeping me innocent. If I feel like I'm repeating it, what is it, Jonisha? What's going on? Where you're found yourself in this same situation but with a different person. You
That's
know,
good, Joe.
is
That's
it
so
you?
good.
Are you missing
That's good.
something? You know,
Yeah.
yeah. So I really have to sit back and think about it and replay the whole situation in my head, and have to also put myself first when it
Come on.
comes to the heart.
Good.
Because I was the type of person who I always tried to put somebody else first and didn't want to hurt anybody or worried about what this person thought or how this person felt, and that left me kind of kicked to the curb and how I felt, making my feelings and my thoughts and what I believe um on the back burner.
Mm.
And I'm not a back burner type of person.
Come on. Come
So
on.
I
Listen.
had to learn that I am important. My feelings are important. My heart's important, and all that, So I had to put myself first. And I also saw that the person that I was dating or the person I was married to, if they weren't putting me first, somebody has to put me first. If they don't see me as a priority, and then I don't see me as a priority, then what am I doing?
Yeah.
Who
Right.
am I?
That's good.
So it was just a matter of learning who I am, and the process and
Process it.
the cycles, stopping the cycles. So that's what keeps me guarded. How about
Listen,
you? What keeps you guarded
hang
after
on. We
experiencing
can't.
divorce?
Listen. We can't just run past that. She's talking about okay. Now you. No, no. Hang on, because let's talk about these cycles
We
for a
can,
second.
let's not talk about me
Let's talk
anymore.
about these cycles for a
Oh, okay,
second
that's good.
because I think that is so profound. Um, because they always say you are who you attract, and I had to
Ooh.
start taking a deep look at myself because I kept attracting people who were broken or people who um were very manipulative and very would run me over and just all the things which probably leads to being broken within themselves, right? And so um I was like, okay, I don't want this no more. Like I'm tired, and the guard that I had up was I'm gonna break you first before you break up with me kind of thing. Like I'm gonna call it quits before we even have to go down that road. So I
Yeah,
would be like, it's you, it's me, not you type of situation. That was my line. Listen, it's not you, it's me. You'll find somebody great, beautiful,
and a
and
lot of
all the
people think
things.
that way.
But you do because you don't want
A
to
lot
be
of
the
people think
one.
that way. Hmm.
You don't want to be the one having to pick up the pieces, because you want to feel valued, you want to feel
Mm.
loved, you want to feel accepted. And when the person's not good for you, but you're willing to deal with it, you see all these red flags, but yet you want companionship. um you tend to tolerate, right?
Mhm.
But you got to get to a place of I can't tolerate this. Like
Right
you said,
there.
I got to put myself first.
Right there.
And if I can't be my true
That's
authentic
good.
self
Mhm.
and be vulnerable and, all the things, then we're going to have problems. I remember talking to this one guy and he was really nice. He was very sweet, very nice guy. And I kept praying and I kept asking God, like, Lord, there's nothing wrong with him. Like, why can't I just find, like, why can't we connect? Like, I just don't feel connected. And I was like, and I could just see myself, and I hate to say this, but I could see myself cheating on him because he was just so like overbearing and so like just in my face 24/7. And it was still long distance. You know what I'm saying? So like that's toxic,
Wow.
and so I was like, "No, I can't do this. I have to be true to who I am, right?"
That's
Like I
toxic.
do. I have to be true to who I am. So I was like, "No, I gotta get up out of this. I
Yeah.
don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I gotta get up out of this." And I've always just been, like I said, I've always been a kind, loving person. And it's okay to stick up for yourself. It's okay to say those things. Now, it's where how
Mhm.
you say it. If it's coming from a hurt place, yeah, it's probably not going to end well. But if you can take the time to, balance your emotions, get your mind right,
Yeah, definitely.
get yourself sober, right? And have the adult type of conversations. And like you said, this goes with any relationship too, I would say, right? That you can honestly end the
Mhm.
season
Mhm. Yep.
of whatever that was on a healthy note. It doesn't have to be um toxic, you know what I'm saying? We don't have to leave people broken or throw them even more and make the pieces into
Not
a
at all.
million.
Not at
You
all.
know what I'm saying? So, um so what
Not at all.
kept me guarded
Yep.
was the fact that I've always I shouldn't say always. I have been mishandled um in several times, and so my guard is very um it's very hard sometimes. The Lord is working with me, okay? He ain't done with me yet. But so I'm very cautious of who I open myself to, what I share, how I share, all the
Mm.
things. Because I'm afraid of being dropped. I'm afraid of once again being mishandled. And before you mishandle me,
Hmm.
I'm gonna remove myself. So that's kind of how I've been dealing. That's my guard. But like I said, the Lord's been doing better with me. You know, we feel a little whole. You know, we feel healthy.
That's really good. One of the things, that I had to work on for myself was to not put up walls in order to love again.
That's good.
And that, my dear tea time sister, is not easy to do. Because once you've been hurt, once you've been humiliated, and once that your heart has been broken, it's a natural reaction to block that hurt to come again.
Absolutely,
But
absolutely.
you are putting everybody in the same category as the person who hurt you. They may not be the same person, but also you have to allow yourself to open back up, because if you don't, you might miss out on something beautiful.
Come on.
And we learn from our mistakes. We learn from getting hurt, honestly. Just think about, like, when we were kids, little kids learning how to walk, we fell. Or riding a bike, we're riding a bike, we fell off the bike, it hurt, we got scratched
Absolutely.
up, but how many of us got back on that bike?
Okay.
And I know that that's an old saying, but we learn how to be better bike back on the bike.
Absolutely.
um
Absolutely.
so one one thing that you had said, which I thought was, well, I just like the way that you put it, was you didn't want to be dropped.
Mm,
um and I can relate to that. And
yeah.
that leads
Yeah.
to the next question.
Hmm.
Um, how has your community or your church responded to your journey, and what would you like to see changed?
How much time we got left? Let me. um. Let's see. Let's see. Uh. I will start. Let me start with the church, and then I'll hit the community. I would say the church. The church is always going to be the church. Okay. Um. Because
Mhm.
it is a place where we all are trying to become whole. We are all trying to strive for perfection. And so um the mentality or the
Mhm.
things that we hold people to a standard isn't always graced. And so there's a lot of, oh, she should have or he should have, and that could have been, and why they do that, and ooh, 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 all the things,
Yep.
right? Rather than
Mhm.
supporting in
All the things.
prayer and fasting with one another, and really a spiritually
Woo.
encouraging, we do more damage. And I remember going through my separation and divorce in the middle of I mean, like, we were both church leaders, and um I was getting DMs asking why he wasn't going home with me after church, and you know all the things.
What?
And people would come up to me like, "Are you okay?" And granted, your girl wasn't okay. Okay, she wasn't okay, and I did wear my feelings on my sleeve.
Mhm.
But it was a lot. I was young. I mean, I was 25, 24, 25 in that time range, and um I didn't know what the heck I was doing, to be honest. And marriage is nothing to play with. So um it was
Rightfully
very
so. Yep. That part.
right. And so it was, but I mean, I prayed to the Lord during that time. I said, send me my right friends, because the ones who I thought were my friends didn't seem like they were my friends at the time. And so I said, send me the right friends,
Mm.
and, just bring the right support, which leads to the community that I had. Surprisingly, my supervisor at the time, where I was working, she was a very amazing sounding board for me. She was a voice of reason, um,
Wow.
and she helped me to refocus my energy, my anger, my sadness, my brokenness into more positive things, and to look out for my son at the time, and to just start to do better for myself, right?
That's
That
good.
the problem doesn't
Mm.
define me,
Mhm.
and that I can move forward. And in as I was in school, I was taking this HR class. We read the book, and I highly recommend this. I recommend this to people all the time. It's Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And I usually read this like every couple years just to
Mhm.
refresh myself. And that book changed my life, because it helped me to not
Wow.
feed into um, my outside atmosphere, but to know that I have the right, with the help of the Lord. I shouldn't say I have the right, but with the help of the Lord, He can take care of my inner me, right? That I don't have to respond with anger.
Mhm.
I don't have to respond in
Mm.
vindictiveness and
Yes.
dragging people out. And that's why I say, don't become the victim. Don't be, woe, it's me, and
Mm.
they did, because it will only keep you stuck and broken. So I say, pray and ask the Lord to give you the right people around you. And then I had these three women from church. They were much older than me. Well, I shouldn't say much older, but they were a little older than me. And they literally just kind of took me under their wing, and they allowed me to just experience life in a different eyesight, things I never took the time to try and experience. And they were very loving to me, and I owe them. I owe a lot of people, but I really do appreciate. I did appreciate them the most. Nights when I didn't have to be alone, they would go walking with me. And that helped me. It's really in the simplicity of
Mm.
things. You don't always gotta sit down and cry about everything. Sometimes you just gotta get up and do something. Get your mind
Mhm.
off of something,
Yeah.
serve, do whatever you gotta do,
Yes. Yes.
to help
Yeah.
yourself start to heal and live again. So but what about you, Joe? How has the community, the church, responded to your journey, and what would you change about it?
Um, I think that honestly, and just to be transparent, the question, just how everything within this question is one of the things that tried to break me. Um,
Wow.
and
Okay.
it was because I had so many people, because we both were leaders as well in ministry, and we had so many people who love to see us together, um, and but we were so, like, some people knew the situation, and then others coming to console or try to talk about it, but it really wasn't consoling. It was trying to be nosy to get more details on what happened and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. And um at that time, that's like the wrong thing to do. Don't try to be nosy, because if the person wants to talk about it, they're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And at that time, well, just about me, I'm a bubbly type of person, a happy bubbly type of person. And a lot of people lean on me for that. And this is what God showed me. And I didn't want to be that at that time. I wanted to sit and be mad. I wanted to cry. I wanted to fight, you know,
No,
and
that's
try
real. That's
to in
real.
church.
That's
But
real. That's real.
But
Like, you wanna tell people where
right,
to get on and get off.
but
Listen.
listen, just leave me alone. But
Okay.
I needed that time to grieve, and it was hard to grieve and process while other people was trying to. You had those who were trying to continue the mess and the drama that you're trying to heal from. You're trying to get past, get through, but they keep throwing it back in your face. It's talking about, girl, guess what I heard now, or guess what he
Right,
did now, or
right.
and people are going to be people. But I just wish that that would change in the community and in the church, because that was happening in both, and it was so strong to where I didn't even want to show my face anymore, not because of that I was hurt or because of what happened. It was because of how I was, how things was handled in the church, how I felt like I was dropped. And this may
Yeah,
not be the case. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, because I love the church. I'm part of it. That's my family. That's what I grew up. That's me. That's who I am at a core.
yeah.
And I knew that this was a journey that I had to go through, that I had to overcome. So I really had to bury myself in God to help me to even step foot into any service, any church, or let alone be a part
Wow.
of a ministry anymore. But some deep healing had to come forth. But that was the start of my church hurt journey, because people were pushing me to the side, and I was like, what did I do, but um I know that there was something that I had to go through, for my journey, and what God was taking me on. And when I think about it now, I'm like, wow, I can't believe that I'm here. You know what
Listen,
I mean?
listen, that's
And
real.
here has so many definitions, but
Okay.
it's like, wow. So
To God be the glory. That's amazing. And no, that's so
so
real.
yeah,
That's so real.
yeah, to God be the glory.
That's so real. And I love that you um talked about
Yeah.
grieving.
Healing
Um
definitely takes
and
place.
yeah, like I don't think people see that, and which raises up to the next question. What are some of the most misconceptions that we have encountered um with our divorce season and then now in this single season? What would you say are some of the most common misconceptions?
Um, I've had people tell me they tried to get me to fight and stay for my marriage, because they said God is not of divorce. Now I'm not going to get into all that and why I got divorced. If you know, you know. If you
Mhm.
don't, to God be the glory.
Glory. Yeah. No,
um, but
that's it ain't that type of tea party, okay? Sorry.
um,
Go
it ain't that type of tea party. You
ahead.
can go catch my story. My story is on here somewhere. But no, but um, divorce, leaving is, you think that it's the easy way out, but it's not.
Mm,
Have Being single is hard. Being married is hard. There is no easy street. Either way,
sweet.
you're gonna need God's foundation, God's help, that relationship with
Absolutely.
God, because you're gonna have that foundation for Him and His guidance to get you through it.
Yeah.
Because being single after divorce, you're starting completely over
Yeah.
from scratch. You've learned to live with this individual for a certain amount of time, and now you gotta go through the whole motions that single people go through. Like, I don't have anybody to watch a movie with, or go out on a date, or look at that cute couple.
Yeah.
And but then you
Yeah.
go you're in a relationship and this marriage, and you're like, oh, you get on my nerves, you know. But choose
Absolutely.
your heart. Choose your heart. That's what I'm gonna say about that.
I love it. I love it.
What about you? Same question.
Um, I think you had mentioned it earlier, and I kind of somewhat commented, but I refrained but I'm gonna comment now, is about the grieving. I don't think people understand
Mm.
that when someone goes through a divorce, it is like them experiencing death. Regardless of how long you were with the
Yes.
person, um, it's having to rearrange your life all over again, and it's not easy. Um, and I think to me, it's a little bit it's a little bit worse than death because that person can pop up out of nowhere.
Wow.
Um, and then it makes you
That's
have to
true. And then you
revisit.
got all these emotions.
Yeah, you revisit all this stuff, right? That you feel like you've conquered day by day, right? And but
Hmm.
yet, oh, it all comes back, and then
Hmm.
you're, having to rebuild yourself. It feels like
Hmm.
daily. So, um, I just say that the grieving part is hard, but it just give yourself grace, and like I said, take it day by day. Um, but also there is life after divorce. That it isn't everything doesn't suck. Doesn't mean
Definitely.
that you're, trash and garbage and you ain't gonna find nobody and all the things. But life is very beautiful. Life is amazing. Not just beautiful, but amazing. It's more than what I
Mm.
could imagine, that because
Yes.
I finally have allowed God to align me in the right direction, in the right space, in the right times, right? And that's what I would even say about singleness, that singleness is purposeful. It's purposeful driven. You can do all the things you need to do, be who you want to be with no
Mhm.
account, like no,
Yes.
not having to ask somebody or check in with somebody. And not to say that that's a bad thing. I really look
Yes.
forward to the day that I have to be like, let me ask my husband, but today I don't got to do that, and just embracing that.
You ain't got to do
um
that.
listen, listen, let me check, but just knowing that God has given you a season, he's given you this time to do and to move forward and to launch out and to go deep and to fulfill whatever your heart's desire is. And so I would just say,
Mhm.
find the beauty in it. Find everything your hands can do, as the word
That's
says.
so
Put
good.
your hands
That's so
to the
good.
plow and
Yes.
do it. Like, I have started and stopped and started my cookie business over and over, but I love it, right? I am here on Tea Time with Liz. I have
And
wrote
they're
a
so good.
book.
Them cookies are good.
I wrote a book and working on the next one. And just doing ministry,
Wow.
period. So like that's why I said I could never imagine this life without God redirecting me, realigning me, and helping me pick up my pieces. So I would
Yes.
say that as the most
You
misconception
finished
that
school too?
come on, it got my degree. Come on, thank you. Remind me. See, sis got receipts. Receipts I
Yes.
can't even keep up with.
Yes.
Okay, receipts I can't keep up with.
That part. That
Come
part.
on. And so I
Mhm.
thank God. I
Yes.
told my friend this the other day. I said, the Lord has totally restored everything I've lost except for one thing. And I'm willing to wait, but it's coming. But I got one thing left on my list that I
Come
need the Lord to
on.
restore. But that's a true testament, right? Not everybody can say that. And God
Mhm.
has restored more than enough,
Mhm.
and some newer things than just restoring the old thing, right? And so I give God honor and praise for that. That's why I go so hard, is for a guy who can restore all things. Come on,
Yes.
come on, okay? It's that for me. So that is my 2 cents
Restore.
on
And
that.
he'll do exceedingly abundantly
Come
above.
on, listen, don't start tonight now. Don't start tonight. We about to have revival.
we we ain't got enough time for
Listen,
revival, but
listen,
hey, if God wants to come
let's
in and
figure
do
it out.
something,
Figure it out. We'll come back. But no, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
yes,
So
that
quick question. I'm gonna ask is what helped you heal not just emotionally but spiritually and socially? How did you, bounce back and learn how to live life again?
I really pressed into God because I didn't like to feel down. I didn't like to be in a depressed mode. I don't like to have a pity party. I don't like to have a oh woe is me. So I leaned on God for that. And that word in his word, he said it says he's near to the brokenhearted. And I took him at that word. So that allowed me to even, get closer to him and trust him that I will be okay, which I I was okay. And God allowed people in my life um to support me in that time when I needed the support. And I appreciate like my friends and my family who saw me in my moments when I wasn't myself and they had my back.
That's
Just
good.
knowing that and just their support, their love. They weren't there pointing the fingers at me, talking about you should do
Mm,
this and you should have did this and da da da.
right,
Da."
right.
No, they let me vent, they let me talk, they let me cry. They cried with me,
Oh, come
and
on.
just the love and support there. Yeah, and just allowing myself to really process it, because a lot of times we want to try to rush through the healing process, but it's just that it's a process, it's a healing process. So
Yeah.
you have to first think about what is it that I'm hurting for? Why am I hurt?
Mm,
What do I need
that's
to
good.
heal from? Because my if I'm the one who filed for the divorce, if I filed for the divorce, why am I grieving that I'm getting divorced? How does that make sense? So I had to really
Right,
process that for
right.
myself and just really focus on me and my healing. And then I also um thought about my kids. My kids was a huge help in this. I didn't want them to see their mom always sad or oh woe is me or always down. And um I didn't realize that they were watching me until one of them said, I started laughing about a joke somebody said. And she looked at me and she said, "Wow, mom, I haven't seen you smile or laugh in a long time."
Mm.
And that hit. I was like, "Oh, wait a minute. That's not okay. I didn't want my kids to see that." So that was something that really helped me in my healing process as well.
That's
And
good.
um just learning and knowing about who I am and digging deep down inside and saying, "Okay, Jonisha, what is going on? Why do you feel this way?" Just processing it really helps, and leaning on God for healing. Like, Lord, you gotta help me because I want to cut somebody.
Okay.
And he will. He will help you.
He
For
will.
real.
Absolutely. No,
uh
no, I concur with
yeah.
that. I would
So
I mean that's real. I think you hit it on the head. Like it's God himself that helps you pick up these pieces, as we are saying, picking up the pieces. That it is only God who can heal you and put you back together. I remember in my journey,
yes.
the Lord took me to Jeremiah, and this I stand by this scripture um forever. And it is Jeremiah 18:4. And he took Jeremiah to the potter's house and he saw this martyred vessel, which means it was like broken, it was misfunctional, can't be used. And the potter took that broken vessel and made it anew. It didn't say he got a new clay. and made a new vessel,
Mm.
but it said he took the broken one and made it a new vessel. And God said that's what he was doing with
And
me. He
made it
said, if
new.
you would just
That's
allow me
awesome.
to put my hands to your life, you will become new. And I remember preaching
Wow.
a message called I Still Got It.
Wow.
And I promise you I'm living that message out. Do you hear me? And I will preach it till the day I die.
Okay.
That I still got it. I mean, and so I
Okay.
say that to everybody out there
I
that
know that's right.
you still got it. Like regardless of what hands have mishandled you and
Still
messed
got it.
you up and broken you in places, God hands can remold you and fix you to make you new and make you who you're supposed to be. And so I say the same thing as her, you know, God will even bring the right people, you know, not to condemn you, but to encourage you, to help
Mhm.
you, to push forward.
Mhm.
But you got to allow God to do it. You got to learn to let go and let
Mhm.
God, you know. Um Therapy definitely was a help.
Be honest with yourself.
I believe in therapy. Okay. um, so I definitely
Mhm.
commend
Yep.
I recommend
Amen.
that. And like I said, just finding you a good support system, but allow God to show you that, you know, because sometimes when we are in these emotional, broken, spiritual places, that we don't think soberly. And sometimes you got to sit down.
Hmm.
I didn't preach
That's
probably
good.
for a good year or two, right?
Yes.
I didn't go to a wedding for a good year or two because I knew myself. I would have been in there being negative Nancy, talk about it ain't
Mhm.
gonna last, you know, all the things
Mhm.
because I'm still broken, right? Right? And so being honest with yourself is key, and knowing how much you can handle and what you can do. Um I I say this to anybody who is going through divorce or even in your singleness, that you know sometimes we get tired in our weight. We get tired in the transition of what
Mm.
could be, right? And we get to this crossroad of contemplating, do I trust God and keep pushing through, or do I just wild out and just do what I want to do? And the adversary will present those opportunities for you to just wild out and do what you want to do.
Mhm.
You know, you start doing things you ain't never done.
Mhm.
You wearing crop tops, drinking every weekend, you know, all the things, right? Because
Mhm.
you just have become
Mhm.
numb to life. But I
Mm.
recommend you push through.
Mhm.
Okay. I ain't going to sit here and hold you. Sis tipped on the other side, just tipped, but came running right back. Okay. Yeah, I ran myself back. I said, nope, I
That
know
part.
I
That part.
can't do this thing called life
Found
without
out you
God.
don't belong there.
Listen, I
Mhm.
already did it once before and look where I'm at. So let me get myself back on the right road. So I would just say be careful of those crossroads. Be careful um what is leading you, you know, in your direction in your life, that it's that you're, you
Mhm.
know, making sober decisions, that you're not just feeling it out of emotion and dysfunction, but that you're really taking the time to heal and get, like you said, give yourself grace. It takes time to heal. It takes time. So yeah.
Mhm. Does take
All
time.
right, now this is the ultimate.
So so
Oh, go
after
ahead,
after
go ahead.
Oh, okay. So after all of that, that you go through so much. We go through so much. Like y- we both went through a lot in like our marriage and divorce and stuff like that. How do you find hope to marry again?
See, we so eager to ask this question. The people want to know. The people want to know.
They want to know.
I think absolutely. I think you have to get to a place of wholeness. And it's a desire, you know. I've always desired a family. I've always, like I told God, I don't need no house, no car, none of that. Like just give me a family and I'm good. sir, listen, you can get whatever you want from me. Just
That's good.
bring the husband and the children, and I'm good, right? And to have that at one time, and it feel like it being taken away, really broke me, and messed me up a little bit. But it's still a desire, and I still know that it is a promise to me. It's just a matter of time. Whenever the Lord wants to do it, He will do it, right? And continue to stay
Mhm.
prepped, continue to be watchful, and not closed off but open. And yeah, just
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
So all right, Joe, what's the verdict on your side? How do you hope to marry again?
Well, for me, I knew that the reason that my divorce happened wasn't my fault. So I didn't blame myself. I didn't, get bitter and be like, I'm never getting married again. Da 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 da.
Right.
No. Um, I am marriage material. I love love. I love
Wait, what
loving
the young
on
people do?
somebody
Clock
else. I
it.
love
Clock
companionship.
it.
Uh,
Sorry.
am I doing that
Clock
right?
it. Yes, right. Clock it.
But so because I knew that about myself, um I, I desire to be married again. Now, with wisdom though, because
Facts.
I'm not
Facts.
just going to jump into a marriage just to be married. I know what I liked and what I didn't like. I know how I want to be treated, how I should be treated, how I deserve to be treated, and what God
Mhm.
has for me is for me, and I want a God ordained marriage. And even dating on the dating scene, having a relationship with somebody who has a relationship with God is on a completely different level. So
Yeah.
I experienced that, and I want that in my marriage. So this is what I had to
That's
learn
good.
more about myself and what more I wanted instead of just jumping into anybody. Because if leave it up to me, I would have been married a couple of times again. But
Oh yeah. Okay.
no,
Okay.
um,
She
I'm
said, but
just
no,
I, I,
that's not the story.
I'm way no.
I love it.
I know what I want. I know what God has for me is for me. So
Most
I'm just
definitely.
waiting.
And we are expectations. We are in expectations. I love it. I love it. And
Mhm,
um that
mhm,
I want to say this. Um as we are getting ready to wrap up, um with our last words of wisdom, and advice, I would just say to this. I know we spoke a lot about divorce and singleness, but I want to say something to the married people. um Appreciate what you have. I know it's not easy, and we both have experienced that, right? Like it is a job. It's a 24/7, and it is
mhm,
work,
mhm,
right? But appreciate what you have, and count it a blessing, count it an honor,
mhm.
to be able to have that sanction, that connection, that relationship with one another, that God trusts you, He honors you to
Yes.
serve each other. And so be encouraged. Like I said, some days are easier than others, but be encouraged that God, He did it, He's gonna keep it. What God has joined together, can't no man put asunder, right? So
Mm,
um
yes.
I believe
Mhm,
that 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 you should just, we don't encourage our married people enough. So I just want to encourage you, and I applaud you all for those who are making it year by year.
mhm,
Keep doing the work, keep showing us that God still honors marriage. My pastor said something to me one
mhm,
time.
mhm.
He says marriage is honorable, um, and singleness can be lonely, but serving the Lord is the best thing basically you could ever do in your life. And I think for the rest of us who
Hmm.
are not married, whether you have been divorced or you are single, or in the so you are single regardless, that we must understand that we are living an honorable life. We are living the best life actually, and that is to be able to give God our whole lives. I mean, literally to every hour and every minute,
Mhm.
um, whatever we do. That it's a blessing to be able to serve the Lord with your whole life. So count it an honor as well
Mhm.
that the Lord is giving you this season, this time until the man or woman of God come into your life. That God's blessing you. It's a blessing. So that would be my words of wisdom.
Mhm.
What any last words, Joe, before we close these doors?
Yes, I'm gonna piggyback off of what you said to the married couples. I- Stick it out. The grass is not greener on the other side. I know that's a cliche and people say that a lot, but it really isn't. There really isn't no happily ever after. And the world and social media and all that kind of stuff want to make it seem like you have this big old glamorous wedding or
Yeah.
just getting married and then you're gonna uh, skip out into the sunset happily ever after. Absolutely not. Y'all might end up almost killing each other the next day, but
Jeez.
stick it out. You might
I
you
can't
might
with you tonight.
you know don't kill each other, but you might have the same issues with the next person, and there's always going to be an issue with somebody, because you when two human beings interact, you got two different brains, two different lifestyles, two different way they grew up. It's always going to be something. So just learn and appreciate what you have and make it work, because being single and starting over, that is a whole task all by itself. And to my
Absolutely.
single people, I will say just love on yourself. Love on yourself and find out more about you. Dig deep inside of you and love on God. Just build that relationship with Him even stronger. And then when you feel the need to love, like you want to love on somebody, what I did is I bought friends and family gifts, so I went out with them, and
Mm.
Valentine's Day, I bought people who like either just went through a relationship, broke up with a relationship, or
Right.
lost somebody. I bought them Valentine's Day gifts or something like that. Just there's other ways that you can share your love than just a relationship until that one person comes along. But just strengthen the love for yourself and other people in different ways. So that is the advice or wisdom that I have for you
Oh, I love
guys.
it. I love it. Oh, shout out to our tea time family. I hope you all have enjoyed this tonight. I definitely have enjoyed
Yes.
this conversation, and it has been picking up the pieces, but it's worth it, y'all. It is worth it when you do it with the king. So,
It is.
but
Mhm.
I hate
Mhm.
to say this, but y'all, this is the end of our first half of tea time this season. We're gonna take us a little breaky
Oh,
break. I know, Joe. Like, what?
we get a break. We get a break. A
We are
much needed
probably
break.
looking
We
forward.
need a break.
It is. We've been working hard, y'all, but we appreciate you. But we have been in the first half of breaking the silence, and
Mm,
I just want to say that it has been mind blowing to see the responses, to see the
mm,
conversations, to
yes.
hear some of the truths from our special guests. Shout out to Gina, to Tanya, to Tovez, to Exie. Who else we had on here? The Oats. All y'all, we thank you for just dropping all the gems that you have in setting up
Yes.
this season of Breaking the Silence. Joe, how have you felt so about us breaking the silence this first half of the season?
I thought it was very good. I thought it was good. I'm looking forward to next season because next season is going to get interesting. But there were
Okay.
some gems that was dropped in this first season. I'm just like really excited. I want to go back and rewatch some of it, and hopefully have some of the guests on again that we had on the first season, but it
Absolutely.
was very good. So if you
Absolutely.
haven't watched, if you missed any of the the season, go back and rewatch it. Go check out
Absolutely.
the YouTube page because you guys don't want to miss it. Get caught up so you can get caught up with season 2.
For sure, for sure. And I mean, because we started with women empowerment, breaking the silence and women empowerment. And you know how it is. It is a struggle sometimes in connecting with sisters and just collaboration and ministry and just all the things. But we had some great, profound wisdom,
Mhm.
dropped some healing moments in those episodes. And so I definitely recommend y'all
Yes.
going back to those episodes. And hopefully y'all are still doing your homework, ladies out there, and making sure that you are striving to be vulnerable, striving to be open, and living life unapologetically, and who you truly are. And it's okay to cry. If you ain't get nothing else, it's okay to cry. All the
It's
things,
okay to
right?
cry.
It's
Let's heal it.
okay to cry. And so yeah, we
Mhm.
have we had some good talks. Then we went into, what did we go into next? We talked about um oh child, what did we've been talking about a whole bunch of stuff. Was it
I
it was
can't
a
remember
Shay?
either.
N-
We talked about a whole bunch.
Oh Lord.
No, I can't
We don't even remember
remember.
our
Oh
own
my
episode.
gosh. Brain freeze. I mean, our brains are gone right now. This is why we need a
Listen,
break.
listen. Yep, this is why. I do remember shacking up. We talked about shacking up. So that was
That was
another
it. That was it.
that
Yep.
was our next one. We talked about shacking up, and then we had the oats on.
Now we're on
They
this one.
and listen, they still, I mean, I'm still showing
Mhm.
those clips. So if you haven't watched the full episode, definitely do so. We even shared some wisdom about the shacking up and the perception of that, and abstinence and all the things. So
Mhm.
definitely make sure you check out that episode. And
Mhm.
then just our recent this month, we've been talking about picking up the pieces. So we are going to continue to break the silence in some topics. We are looking forward to next second half of the season. We're going to talk about some unforgiveness, and just so much more stuff. I'm just going to give that little gem anyway about it. But definitely be prepared, stay tuned. Thank you all for rocking with us, but we will see you back here in September. That's when we'll be back. We'll be back in September. We're going to take July and August. So don't forget to
September.
register for the Ascend. Okay, there you have it, right there. All
Mhm.
right. And then our tea time
You see it
pop-up will
there.
let you know. We will be kicking off the new season that way, to be honest. So definitely are the next half of the season. So definitely make sure that you come and hang out with us. But we thank you all. We love you all. And we will talk to y'all soon. Have a good one.